Hello everybody, Joel Tadman here from Golf Monthly, and welcome to this video where I'm talking you through the best golf GPS watches on the market in 2020. It's a category that's growing in popularity, more and more golfers choosing the convenience of a golf GPS watch. So I've picked out what I think are my favourite options that you can pick from, covering different price points and different levels of features to help your buying decision, help you pick the best one for your needs and your budget. So I'm going to give them a thorough test here on the golf course at Burley Park Golf Club. I'm going to give you my verdict on what I like about them, what I don't like about them, to really help pick the best one for you. So without further ado, let's get started talking you through the best golf GPS watches on the market in 2020. Right, so first up we have the SkyCaddie LX5, which comes in at £299.95, and this has the largest screen of all the GPS watches on test, so it's 3.5 centimetres, and admittedly it is a little bit chunkier than the other watches on test, but that does have a benefit in that extra size gives you a little bit more detail on the screen, especially the hole maps, which are really crystal clear on this SkyCaddie LX5. So starting from the home screen, when you've got kind of the big numbers, the front, middle, back distances, you can swipe in different directions to access different features. So to swipe to the right, you access the hole maps, which are really clear, really simple to digest. You've got the movable pointer to kind of put the pointer where you want to be hitting your drive to, where you think the optimum spot is, although an optimum driving point will be suggested by SkyCaddie. And remember, these maps are ground verified on foot, so they don't use satellites. These are verified by SkyCaddie employees, so they are the most up-to-date, SkyCaddie say. You've also got some arcs that you can put on there. You can measure shots. You can also zoom in on the green to see some more detail around the green area. Swipe back to the main screen, you can go swipe up and you get a list of all the hazards that are upcoming. Swipe to the left, you can access the scorecard where you can score for a few people. So very simple to use, and it's still very comfortable to wear, even though it is a little bit bigger than the others. It's not moving around when you swing, so you don't really notice you're wearing it. Definitely one of the most feature-packed and easy to use watches on the market. Next up is the ShotScope V3. Now, the big unique selling point with this watch is that it will automatically track your shots for you by using tags that you screw into the tops of your clubs. It's been made 60% smaller than the previous version. It's really slimline and compact on your wrist, and with that tacky rubber material of the strap, you genuinely don't notice you're wearing it because it's not moving about at all. The screen is a little bit smaller than most of the other watches in this test, but the visibility on it is still pretty good. You can see the numbers there, front, middle, back, hole number and the par. You can navigate through the features using the 4 buttons on the side where you can see the distances to reach and carry the hazards. That's a real big selling point. A lot of GPS watches just have one distance. Admittedly, when I've been testing it, I've logged about 5 or 6 rounds with it now. Hasn't picked up every single shot, but ShotScope have carried out a firmware update now where you can see in the top right of the screen, it will tell you what the last shot detected was. So if you hit a shot and that doesn't change, you'll know that it's maybe missed a shot and you need to go in and add it manually. So a nice update from ShotScope. Generally though, the shot tracking is pretty seamless. Only have to go in after the round on the app to edit 1 or 2 shots, less than a handful I'd say. And that data is really important because it gives you real good insights into kind of where your strengths and weaknesses lie, where you need to improve. So a very comprehensive package from ShotScope, definitely improved in the design and the functionality. And if you're after that extra level of shot tracking and performance analysis, definitely worth a try. So next up is the Tag Heuer Connected Golf Edition. Now this is admittedly a bit of a niche option because it comes in at a whopping £2,100, so £500 more expensive than last year's version, which I did test. And while I enjoyed what it offered, it was a little bit complicated to navigate through the different features and a little bit complicated to set up. And definitely Tag Heuer have improved that for this edition. It's definitely a lot easier. The pairing process is a lot more simple, and the synchronization process with the Bluetooth and the app is a lot quicker. So that's definitely a big improvement. And you'll notice Tag Heuer have added 2 buttons either side of the dial here, so that makes the functionality and the navigation also a bit easier, especially when you're tagging shots. So when you hit a shot, you can just press this top right button here to mark the shot location, walk to your ball, press it again, and then just enter the club that you hit. And then obviously that data will then be stored in the app for you to look at after your round, so you get a true idea about how far you're hitting each club. Obviously you need to kind of play a few rounds to gather enough data to make it relevant, but that's the same with any golf GPS shot tracking system. You also got this dial here on the side, which you can now use by twisting it to scroll through the hole to pick the point that you're maybe most interested in terms of hitting your drive. You can use the touchscreen as well if you want to scroll through the whole map. The whole maps are really clear. I think the graphics on this are really good. I think it fits really well. It's easy to adjust the strap. And the other thing that's cool about this watch, when you combine it with the app, that I'd say it's quite unique to the market, is that it has a feature called Driving Zone, where it will plot all your drive positions on a certain hole, and it will color code those driving positions depending on what you scored on that hole. So you get a clear picture about kind of where you want to be driving your ball, what positions give you the best chance to produce the best scores. So over time, the more drive you hit on that hole, you'll get a clearer picture about the ideal strategy. That can be really important, definitely save you a few shots. There is a lot of features here that really work for the golfer. There's also a lot of off-course features that are really well. Obviously it's a tag here watch, so it's got a lot of kind of premium details on it, which I really like. Whether it's worth £2,100 is a different story, but definitely one of the most kind of feature-packed options out there. Right, so next up we have the Samsung Galaxy Watch Active 2. This comes in at £339.99. Surprisingly lightweight. The screen is pretty compact actually. I would say the setting up process when using this watch is a little bit complicated. You have to pair to a couple of different apps and put some passwords in and stuff. It does take a bit of time, but obviously if you can invest that level of money into it, you're probably going to take the time to do it. But once you have got all set up with it, I really do like the functionality of this watch. So the home screen, you've got the front, middle, back distances, which are really easy to see. And you go into the maps, and what you've got is the option of a graphical representation of the hole or the satellite image of the hole, and I think that's a really cool feature and a cool option to have. You can put your scorecard in it, you can measure shots with it pretty easily. It's also got a kind of digital rotating bezel that you can't really see it, but what you can do is you can twist the outside of the screen and it will access different functions. So when it's on golf mode, it will change the hole for you. That's also how you navigate through the different features. So it's a very clever watch. It does take a bit of time to get used to how it works and all the different functions of it, but once you get used to what the buttons do and how the screen works, I would say it's definitely one of the most fun GPS watches to use. And it's got a kind of unique strap design where the strap kind of folds underneath it, so it's very comfortable to wear, doesn't move around, nice and tacky, very stable on your wrist, and I've really enjoyed using it. Next up we have the Garmin Approach S62. This comes in at £479, so one of the more premium options on the market, but I would say it's justified to a degree given the level of features on this watch. Garmin have made the screen 17% bigger than the previous S60, and also they've made the battery life almost double the length, so it should last a bit longer and also make the hole maps a little bit more easy to read. It's got the hole maps with the front, middle, back distances. You can tap a part of the hole and it will show you where the hazards are, give you a deeper dive into how far it is to reach and carry those, which I really like. You've got the movable pointer on that hole map as well. Whole map graphics are a little bit kind of dated, a little bit basic, but aside from that, they're pretty easy to read. And then you can press this top right button here, and that gives you access to all the features where you can move the flag. You can also ask a virtual caddy. So once you've played 5 rounds, logging your shot locations and which club you hit on all those shots, it will store how far you hit those clubs, and then it will tell you in a certain situation, if you ask the caddy what club to hit, it will give a recommendation based on all your previous shots. So I think that's quite a cool feature actually. Definitely one that I think a lot of golfers would be surprised at the club they should hit versus what club they want to hit. I like the pinpointer feature. So if you've got a blind shot where you don't know where the green is, the pinpointer feature will point to where the flag is on the particular hole, so that's really useful. If you pair the watch with the Garmin app, you can get wind speed and direction as well. All I would say, while it was very easy to use and I definitely enjoyed wearing it, it's very comfortable to wear, testing on the 15th hole here at Burley Park, which has had the lake removed and some bunkers added a couple of years ago, they weren't displaying on my hole map on the watch, but they were displaying on the app. So even though I actually synced them together this morning, they haven't synced up properly, so the information wasn't as up to date as I would have liked. So that's just something to bear in mind. It can be a frustrating problem if you're not getting the correct information from the hole you're about to play. So a minor complaint, obviously that only applies to holes that have had changes done recently. Generally speaking, I'm sure the hole maps and the data will be relatively accurate, and I love the look of this watch. This is definitely the watch I'd be most likely to wear off the golf course as well as on it, because it's really, really stylish, very modern, slick. So if you like your features, you like your cutting edge gadgets, the Garmin Approach S62 is definitely going to tick the boxes for you. Right, so last but by no means least, we have the GolfBuddy Aim W10. This comes in at £249.99. and does come preloaded with 40,000 courses. It also has hole maps, you can do your scorecard on it, and it does also compensate for slope and will give you green undulations in certain situations on certain courses. So has the potential to offer good functionality. The hole maps do leave a little bit to be desired. They're quite basic and there's no movable pointer on the screen. So while you can zoom in and see the different layup arcs from 150 yards away, you can't kind of plot your way around the hole, which is a bit frustrating. Generally, it's pretty bulky. I think you'd agree the strap's quite thick. It doesn't have holes in it, so it's quite thick and doesn't breathe very well on your wrist, but it's still pretty comfortable to wear. I didn't really notice I was wearing it. The other thing I would say is that the charger didn't really fit as well as I was hoping, so I had to kind of position it in a very specific way to get it to charge, which was a bit frustrating. But I think if you want basic functionality, if you're really after those front, middle, back distances, this will deliver that. Very easy to read, and you can keep your score on it, as I mentioned. So with only one button on there, it's pretty simple to use, just lacks a bit of kind of that modern cutting edge functionality. But if you want something simple and basic that does offer hole maps, try the GolfBuddy Aim W10. Right, okay, so that concludes our look at the best golf GPS watches on the market in 2020. If I had to pick what I think is the best pound for pound value GPS watch, there's a couple that really stand out for me. The ShotScope V3 comes in just over £200. It gives you GPS distances, gives you automatic shot tracking, and it gives you distances to hazards as well. I think that's pound for pound one of the best value options. And then also the SkyCaddie LX5 for me, coming in under £300 to get those ground verified hole maps, which are crystal clear, and also all that extra functionality as well. I think that's a really good option to try. So those are the two that really stand out to me. I really like the Samsung and I really like the Garmin S62, but they're just, those price points for me are a little bit too difficult to stomach. But if money's no object, definitely those two are certainly worth trying if you want a little bit extra from your GPS watch, both on and off the course. But that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this review. Do comment down below, tell me what your favourite golf GPS watch is. What are you looking for from a golf GPS watch? I'd love to hear from you. Do click the like button if you like what you're watching. But for now, from a very sunny Burley Park Golf Club here in Stamford, it's goodbye from me. I'll see you next time.